fundamental movements of yoga. We use it a lot of time as a rest position, but it can act as a very, very good stretch for the whole of the back body, especially the hamstrings and the calves. Now, when you're trying to think of downward dog, a lot of people usually lazily go into it and they don't get as much out of it as they necessarily could. So it's about trying to take these coaching points that I'm going to tell you, take them away, and every single time that you go into this downward facing dog or Adho Mukha Svanasana, or actually it's got another name, mountain pose, I want you to really try and hone into at least one of these coaching points every single time that you go into the posture. And every single time that you go into the posture, if you're thinking of one of these coaching points and you keep going through them, then you'll start to iron it out and it'll become this beautiful pose that allows you to open up through the shoulders and open up through the back body. Here we go. So here's your downward facing dog. I'll stay for a few seconds just to allow you to see what it looks like, and then we'll break it down because it's got quite a few coaching points. Alright, so the way that I want you to set this up is firstly try to find some awareness around the spine, because the down facing dog has a lot to do with the hips. A lot of people just say when they're coaching down facing dog is fire the knees back, but we actually create a rounded back position, and that isn't necessarily that good for us, and we don't get as much out of the position or posture as we necessarily can. So what I want you to do is come down onto all fours, have your hands directly underneath your shoulders, spread the fingers apart as wide as you possibly can so you have a nice, strong, stable base of support. And I want you to push the bum to the sky, head up towards the sky, then exhale, tuck underneath. And use the breath, inhale up, exhale, tuck underneath. Inhale, bum up towards the sky. Now I want you to keep the bum there. This is what's going to allow you to tap in towards the hamstrings as you fire back into your downward facing dog. So take one step out with the hands from where you are now, tuck the toes, and I want you to simply just lift the knees up, but keep this postural position. Don't let yourself tuck underneath. And then I want you to imagine in this same position you're going to sink your head back in between your arms, and there you have a nice straight spine. Okay, come down onto your knees there. Now if I had really tight hamstrings and I was pushing back into this downward facing dog and then I straighten my legs, look what happens to my lower back. It becomes rounded and you probably take the stretch away from the hamstrings. So, do that again. But what we're going to do this time, we're going to keep the same spinal position. I'm going to start to straighten the legs slightly, but only until we start to get a really big stretch through the hamstring muscles, which is the back of the thigh. So plant those hands, one place in front of where the shoulders are. Push the bum towards the sky, sink back with a bent knee. Now just settle there, and I want you to straighten the legs, but keep pushing the bum towards the sky. Feel that tension create through the back of the hamstrings. Hold there for a few breaths, don't hold your breath. This can actually build a fair bit of strength through the shoulders as well. Come back down onto the knees. Another coaching point is with the arms. I'm just going to show you in this position here. You've got a couple of options. You can have it so the crease of the elbow face each other, and that's going to target different muscles within the rotator cuff, mainly the anterior part. And then we can turn them through so we have the creases of the elbow facing forwards. Now, I like to have them so they're facing forwards because a lot of people are usually weak through that position, and we can start to get this engagement through the latissimus dorsi and get a better stretch through it ultimately. So bring yourself into that position, hands one pace in front, make sure those fingers are spread out, turn the elbows through towards the front, tuck the toes. Do the same thing, push the bum up towards the sky. Lift up the knees and then sink the head through as if you're trying to look down towards the feet. Straighten the legs back, but you don't go all the way unless you can. Now push your bum up into the sky again as you inhale. Exhale, sink the heels slightly.
See how intense that stretch is. Inhale, exhale. And now inhale, exhale, let your head drop towards the floor, but keep wrapping underneath with the triceps. Drop down onto your knees.
I'm going to go back into one more. And you see how it's a little bit of a step-by-step process that allows you to find that position that's best for you. So every time you come into your downward facing dog, it's not always going to be from the knees, but I want you to think about those fundamentals. A nice strong arm position, drawing the elbow towards the front of the mat, spreading the fingers apart, sinking the head in between the arms, pushing the bum up towards the sky, and never losing that flat back position. And as you get more flexibility, come back up into that. As you get more flexibility, as the hamstrings start to ease off, you'll be able to push the knees back and the heels down and open up into that posture a lot easier. And start making it look like the pros. But it doesn't really matter. You don't want to be looking like the pros. You want to be working into places that you've never been before, because, like I said before, yoga is this self-unfoldment. So well done. That is the Adho Mukha Svanasana, or the downward facing dog, or the mountain pose. That is going to be in pretty much every single yoga class that you do. It is a people's favourite, but well done.